Hey everyone, this is HighZealot here and welcome to E-4 of the Spring 2016 event. You can see here I'm bringing along a carrier fleet, a carrier task force, and with a significant amount of air power to gain air superiority on the biggest potential node, not including the airbase, is about 242. And by about I mean you need more than 242 at that node, the pre-boss node, to get air superiority. So as you can notice, you may have noticed, I did sortie to this once, but I retreated because I actually did not, at that time I did not realize how land bases work. And you can see here I still don't really know how they work. I managed to figure out how to deselect it, and now I just need to figure out how to click the green button, not the red button, the green button. But that is effectively how you choose where you send your fighters or bombers from the airbase. From the land base, each different planes have their own range. Red crews have a range of 5, so they can go to, from your starting point, they can go up to 5 nodes, taking the shortest path regardless of whatever path you take. So let's say you go, you'll say your fleet gets goes off course and takes 6 nodes to the boss, but usually the shortest path is 5 nodes to the boss. Red crews can still make it even if you take 6 nodes to get to the boss, because the shortest route is 5 nodes, if you get what I mean. Other bombers have their own ranges. Usually, from what I've read in the later maps, that you probably won't be using red crews in your land base because they just don't have enough range for where you use them, and you will also be using the land bombers, land attackers, which are not used in E4 because in E4 you saw me use full-on red crews. The reason for that is to pretty much almost guaranteed making it through node F. Along with that, you also see Maya there to bring in an AA cannon, which didn't activate too often, but it did help when it did activate. So node A is a very standard node. You got your light carriers and heavy cruisers, they die easily, very easily. And then from then on it's on to node B. Node B, as you're about to see, is an active branch. From there you can choose either node D, or you can choose to go to node C. Node C is more light carriers with a battleship, and then I'm not sure where you go from there, but I choose to go to node D because it's the most straightest route to the boss. On node D, you have the blue-eyed woe, which is, you know, deadly, potentially. Doesn't seem to be too much of a threat in this map, especially since it's combined fleet, and you will probably have the fleet command facility, so if they get a lucky hit, then you can just have someone escort whoever got hit back. The battleship can also be a threat, but it's all like everything. This game is a matter of RNG, and you have to get unlucky here to really have any trouble. As I said earlier, the other active branch you can go to is node C. Node C has, as I said, one battleship and 2 light carriers and a Sioux class light cruiser, and then just 2 destroyers. From node C, if you're for some reason wanted to go to that route, it's actually, at least on the English wiki, it's unknown how the branching from node C is. But why you would go to node C anyways? I don't know. And as you probably saw on the map earlier, there are 2 starting places, one in the west, which is where the carrier task force starts, and then one in the southern eastern part of the map. That's where the surface task force starts. The surface task force, looks like if you have more than or equal to, if you have 2 CLTs or more, you go to node C, and then you go G, probably otherwise, not 100% sure there. And then node G to node H and I. So let's say from the surface task force start, you go east if you have less than 2 torpedo cruisers, and from node G, as you can see here, you go north if you have more than or equal to at least 3 battleships, or you go east, i.e. to node I, if you have a fast fleet and maybe 1 battleship, and or maybe it's weighted towards a fast fleet and 2 battleships. Still bit unknowns there. Node I leads to one way. Node H, guessing is a dead end of sorts. Then node J is an line of sight check, and this is the tree bros node. Node F, this is when you get to see land-based squadrons in action for the first time. Just this time around, we don't bring in any land attackers. They're just all purely fighters to pretty much shoot down the enemy bombers and pretty much hopefully blow up every single plane Yorktown has, so she can't hurt us at all. Which unfortunately does not happen that often, but it is potential that can happen. And the English Wiki does recommend you bring all Raipus. And I did try bringing it later, maybe both my land attackers from the previous map, and then I tried 1 land attacker, and honestly I think all Raipus is what you have best, just to have the best chance to shoot down all her bombers. Which, for obvious reason, makes this node very trivial if you can accomplish this. A service task force is supposedly recommended if you're aiming to conserve bauxite, but honestly this should not consume that much bauxite. I mean, it did use maybe 5,000, less than 5,000 in my bauxite, but since there's not much information I can see for a service fleet, you should really just go for a carrier task force and just follow the recommended, which is, as you can see here, 2 fast battleships, 2 standard carriers, and a heavy cruiser in your main fleet, and then 1 heavy cruiser, 1 torpedo cruiser, and 3 destroyers on your escort fleet, along with the required light cruiser. The English wiki is honestly not quite clear on what sends you from node D to node E, but I'm assuming when they say more than or equal to 3 carriers plus light carriers combined, they probably mean more than and not so 4 or more, which would make sense there. So that's why you're near 3. And now the boss is gonna speak. So it looks like escort fleet, there's really no requirements at all. You can pretty much bring anything you want. Though, torpedo cruisers, I don't really think you don't really have any other map you can really bring a torpedo cruiser, I think. So you may as well bring them to E-4 as I did here, Katakami, because she's not gonna have really any chance elsewhere. Though I didn't bring 2, I guess it doesn't seem to have any rules that where you can't bring more than 1 torpedo cruiser that I can see. Though it might lead you to node E if you have too many. I'm not sure because it's not really said in the English wiki. But pretty much you can just follow the recommended carrier task fleet composition on the wiki, and it works just perfectly fine. And then from there on, you just pretty much have a few anti-cut-ins. If you're not using Maya, you can bring in some Akitsuki class destroyers. Probably just 1. There's really no downside. I don't think. Well, there is downsides to bringing more than 1, as and you won't be able to use them later. So you should really just bring 1 and save the rest for later. Bring, let's say. Doesn't really matter who you bring, just bring 1 with anti-cut-in equipment, and then hope it actually activates when you need it to. And on the boss, the anti-cut-in is clearly not a factor because there's no aircraft. So you want to put your Akitsuki class destroyers in pretty much in the top slot on your escort fleet. So if they have to escort anybody back, they're the ones who are the escorts. And ideally, they're the escorts because of the pre-boss node, and now because on the boss they'll be useless, so there's no point for them actually go into the boss because they're not useful really at all. And then afterwards, you just kill the boss. You have to kill the boss on hard 6 times in total. If you mess up, if you don't kill it fully, then it's pretty much 7 times. So pretty much it's gonna be 67 times. You're probably gonna not get a full kill once or twice, but you should be pretty much fine. Doesn't look like much changes for the route enemies on your final attack, and I don't think and also the final boss doesn't really change on the final either. So the English Wiki says if your final kill is a bit problem, bring a support fleet, but you really shouldn't need to bring a support fleet. This honestly E4, E3, E4 are probably the easiest maps of this defense so far. And I honestly think, from what I hear, it's not gonna get any easier. So E3 probably the easiest. E4, I guess maybe the second easiest, though it is a bit resource intensive because you just it is a bit of work to do. You can see here I brought Terisuke along because I wanted another chance for anti-cut-in, even though if her AA cut-in activates, Maya's cannot, because you can't have 2 AA cut-ins at the same time. But at the same time, I'd rather have someone anti-cut-in not be activated because somebody actually had an anti-cut-in activate, then nobody's AA cut-in activates at all. So one AA cut-in is better than none, even if it's the worst AA cut-in by a bit. So pretty standard stuff. There's like I guess like E3, there's not that much to say. Let me look at the AS numbers for the other nodes other than the pre-boss node. So the first node, pretty much the lowest AS air superiority you can have is 69 for air superiority. Air supremacy is 138. Node D, the highest potential air superiority you need for superiority is 242. Actually, looks like I'm reading the wrong node. No, I'm not reading the wrong node. It's 242. And then for air supremacy, you need 483. Node F, the Yorktown node, you need a minimum for air superiority is 228. For air supremacy, you need 456. Though that's not taken into account your land-based squadrons. So that's not much. So once you take in your land-based squadron, probably becomes less, but you still want to have lots of fighters to try and shoot down as many bombers as possible. So from there on, it's pretty much this match should be pretty much smooth sailing, though the pre-boss node can be deadly at any point, even when she has 1 bomber remaining. Because on this run, when you see it, you're not gonna notice, but from battle info, I could see that there was only 1 bomber left. And the annoying part is, with 1 bomber left, she gets full-on firepower, no penalties at all, even though it literally makes no sense that 1 bomber can do so much damage to any girl, because that bomber is probably gonna get shot down on approach. So it doesn't make any sense, pretty much. So that's pretty much E3 in a nutshell. E4. Funny. May as well start talking about other stuff. So the videos for E2 and E3 was actually supposed to go up yesterday, though I was trying a different rendering preset and that didn't look good. So I'm just going back to my usual rendering preset of what I usually do. was trying to try rendering it in a different format, but it didn't really work out that well, unfortunately. So I gotta re-render it, and in the process, I beat E4 in about, I'm not sure, let me think. Let me say about 4 hours. Yeah, about 4 hours to beat E4. Anyone else can honestly take it slower, though you can't really wait out repairing your battleship, let's say, compared to like a destroyer, because that's gonna take a long time, and unless you're taking it really slow, you probably don't want to wait like 12 hours for your battleship to repair, or potentially a day. So this is gonna be a bit more resource intensive, because certain stuff you don't exactly want to wait. But yeah, that's pretty much. Okay, I'm repeating myself because how many times have I said that in a nutshell? So yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, okay, let's try to not say it in a nutshell. So anything I'm missing? I've already talked. I don't think there's pretty much nothing. There is nothing left to talk about E4, other than the stock heavy cruiser princess herself. Ben, there's not much to talk about. She's a standard boss. Just kill her. She has, I guess, a significant amount of armor. So one thing you might be better off with is equipping your destroyers, not including AA cut-in destroyers, with torpedo cut-ins, and your torpedo cruiser, assuming you bring it with a torpedo cut-in, or maybe just bring in 2 heavy cruisers with double attack, because that should also work, maybe just as well. So from there on, after E4 is E5 and E6, which we'll see in a moment, but yeah, not much else to say. So significant drops, I guess you can encounter potentially, is Okinami from the boss. Well, Takanami, Nagano, that's pretty much a bunch of old rare destroyers from. Doesn't seem like there's any unique ones to this event, i.e. anyone new to the event, unfortunately. Who is Harukaze? Yeah, she's E7 drop, so that's not gonna be no chance of seeing her for a while. One significant drop from the boss actually is Unru. You can get her from the boss along with, as always, Maru for your luck stat. But yeah, you can see here the final formation for the boss is not much different. I mean, yes, the boss gets buffed pretty much, but it's the same as always. You kill her, and then she's dead, and you win. Simple. You really shouldn't have any problems, honestly. Though, other people may potentially have problems because let's say you may be using lower level ships because you're bringing them from E1 and trying to conserve them. You can see here that I pretty much did use everyone I could from E1. No one new other than the AA cut-in and the ones that I couldn't bring to E1. So an extra heavy cruiser, well, Maya. So, but it is largely E1 from what I could bring to the battleships. Kongo and Haruna are from E1. Sendai I used in E1. Shigure and Hatsuharu. And Hatsushimo I used in E1. I mean, there's so many destroyers. You can't blame me for forgetting names here and there. I mean, I did remember it in the end. But yeah, boss is pretty much dead. There is the potential to just completely choke. In Night Battle, you saw the first battle, she was at like similar HP, and it took all the way into Ashigara to double attack her and actually kill her. So theoretically, you can get screwed over. And E4 is done. So, on all difficulties, you are awarded the following rewards. You get 1 medal, 2 Iriko, i.e. the morale type of dessert, and you get the second airbase orb. And by the way, you can name, just like your fleets, you can name your land bases. So, I'm not sure if you noticed, but you might notice that all my fleets and my land base have a very name and style of something that is a reference to something. Not sure how many of you will actually know the reference, but if you do, kudos. On hard, you get the Type 1 land attacker and the Type 3 fighter hen, which is some sort of, I think, an interceptor for your land bases. On medium, you only get and you also get a skilled pilot. On Type 1, on medium, you get the Type 1 land attacker and a skilled pilot. And on easy, you just get a Type 96 land attacker. So E4, that is technically the main event done. And from being an E4, you unlock the extra event. So from there on, you unlock not just 1, but 2, because E5 is technically optional, but you pretty much want to beat it to do E7, because beating E5 unlocks the third air base. And this is pretty much my fleet setup. You can see there lots of bombers ended up getting shot down, which is unfortunate, but yeah. E4 is completed, and it's the first time you will use an airbase squadron, but you're not gonna give them any bombers. So you'll be seeing bombers though, probably in E5. And with E5 comes even more mechanics related to airbase squadrons. I'll see you guys then, and good night.